Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, The Audible Review.
Great to be here.
Today, we're diving into The Case for Christ by Lee Strobel. You sent this one in, and our focus isn't just the conclusion he reached.
No, not at all. We're really looking at the process. How did this guy, an award-winning investigative journalist, legal editor at the Chicago Tribune, an atheist?
Yeah, a committed atheist.
Right. How did he apply those skills to investigate Christianity? It all started because his wife became a believer, and it threw him for a loop.
It's framed almost like a courtroom drama, isn't it? Like faith, reason, evidence all clashing.
Exactly. He basically put Christianity on trial. He acted like the prosecution, actively trying to poke holes in it to disprove it.
Using those skills, he honed reporting on crime and politics?
Yeah, turning that skeptical eye onto maybe the biggest historical claim ever made. The book itself is structured like that investigation, like a trial.
Okay, let's break down that method a bit. He wasn't just like reading apologetics, he was cross-examining.
Precisely. He treated it like a criminal case. You need evidence, you need reliable witnesses.
So who were these witnesses? Who did he talk to?
Oh, he went straight to the top scholars. People in history, archaeology, even medicine, philosophy.
Experts who could tackle the really tough questions, the ones skeptics always raise.
Right. Like, did Jesus even exist as a real historical figure, outside the Bible?
That's a big one. And what about the New Testament itself? Can we actually trust those documents? Are they reliable history?
And the resurrection, was that something verifiable, historically speaking, or just made up later?
He really hammered on those. He wasn't looking for easy answers.
Not at all. And this is where it gets interesting. Take the New Testament documents, for example.
Okay.
When Strobel applied the standard tests of historical and textual criticism, the same tests used for, say, Caesar's Gallic Wars or writings by Plato.
Stuff we generally accept as historical.
Exactly. He found the manuscript evidence for the New Testament, the sheer number of copies, how early they date back, was, overwhelmingly stronger than for almost any other ancient text.
So the reliability, bibliographically speaking, was surprisingly high.
Way higher than he expected. It was a shock to him.
Yeah.
And that kind of pattern repeated itself across different areas of evidence.
Well, what was the big discovery, the overall conclusion from his investigation?
He concluded, and this is him saying it, that the evidence for Jesus, his life, his death, the resurrection, was far more substantial historically, philosophically, and scientifically than he ever expected.
Wow. So the evidence he couldn't easily dismiss just kept piling up.
Yeah, things like the medical details of crucifixion, the empty tomb evidence, the eyewitness accounts, and their psychological state, it became harder and harder to explain away.
Which brings us to some key takeaways, especially for, critical thinkers listening.
Definitely. I think the first big one is that faith and reason aren't enemies. They can coexist.
Strobel's journey kind of embodies that, right? Intellectual honesty actually led him towards belief, not away from it.
And that required humility, a willingness to say, okay, maybe my initial assumptions were wrong. His skepticism had to transform into a sort of openness to where the facts led.
That's a tough shift for anyone, especially someone so grounded in skepticism.
It really is. And it led him to this pretty profound realization. He felt that continuing in his disbelief actually required more faith.
More faith, how so?
Well, faith that all these converging lines of evidence, all these historical data points, could somehow be wrong or explained away just by coincidence or conspiracy. It seemed like a bigger leap of faith against the evidence.
Then accepting where the evidence seemed to point.
Exactly. For him, anyway, that was his personal conclusion after almost 2 years of digging.
And you mentioned his wife earlier. The personal angle was important too, wasn't it? It wasn't just about the data.
Absolutely. He often says that alongside the analytical evidence, seeing the genuine transformation in his wife and then eventually in himself, that became incredibly powerful proof too.
It connects to that quote of his, I went in search of truth thinking it would disprove faith.
Instead, I found that truth pointed straight to Jesus Christ. Yeah, that sums up his 180-degree turn pretty powerfully.
So synthesizing this for you, the listener, what's the relevance here?
Well, Strobel's work really acts as a bridge, connecting the analytical, investigative side of things with the spiritual. It argues that asking tough, honest questions isn't something faith should fear.
In fact, maybe it's the foundation.
Could be. It's essentially a challenge and invitation for you to look at the evidence yourself. Don't just take his word for it or anyone else's.
Right. Which leads to a final thought, maybe a provocative question for you to consider, especially if you pride yourself on critical thinking.
Does that kind of thinking, Does logic and reason necessarily lead you away from spiritual discovery, or could it, as Strobel found, actually lead you closer?
Something to think about. Does rigorous investigation shut the door on faith or open it?
A question worth grappling with wherever you currently stand.
Do like, share, and subscribe to our channel.